My insane girlfriend remarked, "You're a boring backup plan." My ex was the real excitement. I told her to go back to him and she started vandalizing, stalking, and even her ex messaged me with horror stories about her. What's up? Reddit? Figured I, 28 male, would share a story that went down this past holiday season. My name is Lance, and what started as a Christmas dinner with friends turned into me realizing exactly what kind of person I was dating and how far someone will go when they don't get their way. Let's just say it went from awkward laughs to cops, glitter, and the best peace of mind I've ever had. So, Christmas dinners are supposed to be about food, friends, and maybe someone embarrassing themselves on karaoke, right? Well, ours had the embarrassing part covered, but it wasn't from singing. It was from Luna, 26, female. We'd been together for 8 months, living together for 1. It was one of those things that seemed logical at the time. Her lease was ending and I had space. She moved in like it was an upgrade, talking about our place as if she was on the deed. Spoiler, she wasn't even on the lease. So, there we are at this Christmas dinner. Restaurant decked out with lights. About 15 of us, all mutual friends, packed into a long table with too much wine flowing. Everyone's joking, swapping Secret Santa stories, talking about plans for the new year. I'm just enjoying my steak and nodding along to some dumb debate about whether Die Hard counts as a Christmas movie. That's when Luna decides the spotlight isn't bright enough on her. She leans back in her chair, swirls her 3rd glass of wine like she's auditioning for Real Housewives, and says, "You know what the problem with Lance is?" The whole table stops. My fork is halfway to my mouth. People laugh awkwardly, waiting for her to say something harmless. "He's just boring," she says, pointing at me with her wine glass. "Don't get me wrong, he's sweet, reliable, whatever. But God, sometimes I feel like I'm dating my dad. All meal preps and spreadsheets." A couple of people around the table chuckle nervously. Bianca, who organized the dinner, tries to cut in with, "Okay, who's ready for dessert?" But Luna isn't finished. No, seriously. Luna continues, laughing that too loud laugh she gets when she's tipsy. "Andrew, my ex, he used to surprise me with trips at 3 a.m., take me to underground raves, skydiving. It was exciting. With Lance, it's like Netflix, meal prep Sundays, grocery lists. Where's the spark?" She actually makes a flatline motion with her hand, complete with beep sound effect, like she's on stage doing stand-up, except no one's laughing this time. My face is hot, but not because I'm embarrassed. I'm annoyed. She's drunk. Yeah, but drunk just means she lost the filter. Those words were sitting there ready. So I set my fork down, look her dead in the eye and say, "Then you should go back to him." Calm, straight, no rise in my voice. She blinks like she didn't expect me to stay composed. Probably thought I'd sulk or argue. Instead, I pulled my wallet, dropped cash on the table for my meal, stood up, and told the group, "Enjoy the rest of your evening." The silence was thick. A couple people's jaws dropped. One guy coughed into his drink. Luna stammered, "Babe, I'm just being honest." But I was already walking out. I could feel her eyes on me the whole way to the door. I didn't bother looking back. Outside, the December air was cold, but it felt better than sitting there being compared to Andrew, a guy she'd sworn she couldn't stand anymore. Funny how she couldn't stop bringing him up. By the time I got home, my phone was buzzing like a fire alarm. 15 missed calls, a wall of texts, and 3 voicemails. I didn't even bother opening them. Instead, I tossed the phone face down on the counter and poured myself a drink. I could imagine what the messages said without reading them. It was just a joke. "Stop being sensitive." Everyone laughed. "You're overreacting." Andrew would have handled it better. Yeah, real festive stuff. I sat back on my couch, glass in hand, and thought about what just happened. She'd made me the punchline at a table full of people, and not one person looked like they thought it was funny. Even Bianca, who normally loves messy drama, looked uncomfortable. That's how far Luna pushed it. The way I saw it, I had 2 choices. Either let Luna spin it into Lance overreacted or draw a line she couldn't wiggle around. Guess which one I picked. I didn't send a long text, didn't argue, didn't explain myself. I just sent her one line back. "Don't wait up." Then I threw it on Do Not Disturb and crashed. It wasn't anger. It wasn't sadness. It was peace. Because here's the thing, women like Luna thrive on drama. They want yelling, crying, pleading. They feed on it. Take that away. And all they've got is silence. And silence drives them insane. I stretched out on the couch, turned on some dumb Christmas movie, and enjoyed the kind of quiet Luna always called boring. To me, it felt like freedom. She wanted excitement. Good. She could find it with Andrew or anyone else stupid enough to sign up for the circus. Me, I had better plans coming. She just didn't know it yet. See, months back, Luna wouldn't shut up about this luxury mountain cabin with private hot springs. She showed me pictures, reviews, even whined to her friends that it's impossible to book. I didn't say a word, just kept the fact that I had already snagged a weekend there for Christmas tucked in my back pocket. It was supposed to be a gift for her. Romantic getaway, cozy fireplace, snow outside. You get the picture. Well, plans change. The day after the Christmas dinner fiasco, I woke up, scrolled through the avalanche of texts she'd left overnight. Everything from "you're overreacting" to "Andrew never would have walked out like that," and decided that cabin wasn't going to waste. It just wasn't going to be her trip anymore. So I texted my 3 closest buddies. Cabin trip this weekend. Who's in? Responses flew back faster than Luna could send a drunk apology. Hell yes. I'm bringing whiskey. Best breakup story ever. Done deal. Instead of some sappy couple's weekend, it was turning into a guy's retreat. Fire pit, beers, hiking, no drama. Exactly what I needed. When Friday rolled around, we loaded up my truck and hit the road. Snow on the mountain roads, music blasting, my buddies already cracking jokes about Luna. It was like the universe telling me I'd made the right call. We pulled up to the cabin and man, it was something else. The kind of place Luna would have taken 100 selfies at. Instead, it was just 4 guys unloading bags and arguing about who got the biggest room. That night, we lit up the fire pit, grilled steaks, and passed around whiskey like it was a championship trophy. At one point, one of my buddies raised a glass and said, "Tuna, thanks for the invite." She lost. We nearly died laughing. Meanwhile, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. I finally flipped it over. 20 missed calls, 15 voicemails, a string of texts so long I had to scroll. Where are you? I know you're being petty, but seriously, this is childish. If you Andrew wouldn't sulk like this. That last one nearly made me spit out my drink. I showed the guys and they howled. I didn't respond. Just snapped a photo of my whiskey glass with the fire pit glowing in the background and tossed it on my story. No caption needed. 10 minutes later, new texts. Are you at that cabin? You promised that was our trip. Who are you with? If it's another girl, you'll regret it. Delusional. Absolutely delusional. Saturday morning, we hiked a trail near the cabin. Snow crunching under our boots, air sharp and clean. We stopped at the top overlooking a frozen lake, and someone joked, "Man, Lance, this is boring as hell. Shouldn't we be at a party?" The whole group burst out laughing. I couldn't remember the last time I felt that relaxed. Of course, Luna wasn't done. My phone buzzed again with her new tactic, voicemails. I played one out loud just to give the guys a laugh. "Lance, come on. Don't ruin Christmas. You're proving my point about being boring." Andrew would have laughed it off. One buddy whistled. "Man, she's still name-dropping him. She's obsessed." "Yeah," I said. "She should just marry Andrew already. Except wait, he'd need to want her back." More laughter. That evening, we made a game out of it. Every time Luna called, we'd take a shot. By the end of the night, we were half drunk, half frozen from running between the snow and the springs, and fully entertained by her meltdown. The text shifted in tone, too. Angry. "You're pathetic." Sweet. "We can work through this, babe." Threatening. "If you're with someone else, I'll find out." It was like watching a live performance of How to Lose Your Boyfriend in 10 Easy Steps. I never replied. Didn't need to. My silence was saying everything. Sunday rolled around and we packed up, sore and tired, but buzzing from the weekend. Before heading home, we snapped one last group photo in front of the cabin. For guys, arms around each other, grinning like idiots. Posted it with the caption, "Best Christmas trip ever." By the time I was on my way home and took it off, "Do not disturb," it was a war zone. Over 60 new texts, half of them accusing me of cheating. The other half begging for another chance. But here's the thing. This wasn't about romance anymore. It wasn't about whether she apologized or blamed the alcohol or promised to change. She'd already shown her hand at that dinner. This was about control, about Luna needing me to be the safe, predictable backup while she kept fantasizing about Andrew and me. I wasn't going to play that role. That night, I ignored her final voicemail of the weekend. Her voice cracked as she said, "You'll regret this. Nobody else will put up with you. Lance, you're dull. Boring." I leaned back and smirked. If boring meant hot springs, steaks, and a weekend with my best friends instead of dealing with her circus, I'd take boring every damn time. At least boring doesn't come with uninvited house guests. When I got back from the cabin trip, arms sore from lugging bags, I knew something was off before I even opened the door. The place reeked of her perfume, strong enough that I knew she'd been there a while. After the dinner, I'd already told her not to come back. She still had my spare key, which I changed the next day so technically she could get in, but she sure as hell wasn't welcome. Sure enough, I walked into my apartment to find Luna sitting on my couch. "Lance," she said with a fake little smile, like I'd just come back from work instead of from a weekend that didn't include her. "We need to talk." I set my bag down and crossed my arms. "About how you're trespassing or how you're wiping out my lunches for the week?" She rolled her eyes. "Stop being dramatic. I live here," and that one almost made me laugh. "Newsflash, Luna. Your name's not on the lease. You pay less than my Wi-Fi bill, and this month you forgot half your share. You don't live here. You visit." Her jaw tightened. She tried the pity act, voice soft, eyes wide. "I was drunk at Christmas dinner. Okay. I didn't mean those things. I got carried away. Right?" I said, deadpan. "You accidentally compared me to Andrew and made a flatline sound effect. Totally slipped out." Then came her peace offering. She dragged over a small box of her stuff like it was some grand gesture. Instead, she handed me a wrapped frame. "I wanted to give you this, something to remind you of me." I peeled the paper back. It was a photo of her alone. Not us, not a memory together. Just Luna posing like it was a senior portrait. I stared at it, then looked at her. "This is a picture of you." "Yes," she said earnestly. "So you'll always remember how much you love me. Consider it an apology gift." I didn't even pretend to appreciate it. I walked straight to the kitchen trash can, dropped the frame in with a loud clunk, and closed the lid. "Thanks. Now take yourself out too." Her face turned red. "You're such an ass." "Better than being a delusional gift giver." I shot back. That's when she lost it. The phony sweetness went away, and the yelling started. "You're cheating on me, aren't you?" she yelled, pacing like a storm. Who was she at the cabin? Was it that chick who worked out? I know she did it. I took out my phone, opened a picture of me and 3 guys standing in the snow with beers in our hands and no shirts on, and pushed it toward her. "Yes, Luna. This is my major secret, mistress. Mike is his name. He works as an accountant." She looked at the picture, then back at me, not disturbed. "You're not telling the whole truth. I can sense it. No man goes on a vacation like that without a woman." The craziness was no longer even disguised. Then the ultimatum arrived. She stopped pacing, squared her shoulders, and looked me straight in the eye. "You can either take me back or I'll make your life hell." I raised an eyebrow. "That's your pitch? Good stuff for a romance novel." "I'm not joking," she screamed. "I'll tell folks things about you. I'll make everyone think you're a bad person. I'll write bad things about your dumb side job as a photographer online. You won't be hired. I will make you wish you had never left me." I stood with my arms crossed against the counter, calm as could be. "Do it. You might also print out flyers. At least then you'll finally do something useful." Her nostrils flared. She didn't like that I wasn't terrified. She begged one final time. Now my voice is cracking. "Lance, please don't get rid of this. No one else will put up with you. You're safe and stable, and I need that." That was her mistake. She didn't want me. She wanted a backup plan. I walked to the door and opened it. "Well done, Luna. You have changed my mind. You don't fit in here. You never did. It's time to leave. She stood still, shaking, and then snarled. This is a bad idea. You'll come crawling back when no one else wants you. Andrew said you were sad. And he was correct. Say hi to Andrew for me. I replied, smirking, and shut the door on your way out. She stomped past me, swearing under her breath, slamming the door hard enough to rock the frames on the wall. A neighbor texted me 2 minutes later. Everything okay in there? Sounded like World War II. I tidied up the food containers she'd left scattered on the counter, put her box into the hall, and finally sat down in quiet. For the first time, it really hit me. This wasn't a drunk mistake at Christmas dinner. This was Luna, entitled, ignorant, and delusional enough to think threatening me into a relationship was a winning strategy. And if that little ultimatum was any clue, she wasn't done. Not even close. The next morning, I found out just how far she was willing to take it. I got an email from Luna with the subject line, "Final Notice. You owe me." It had an itemized bill that asked for thousands of dollars for groceries, emotional labor, and home improvements. She even said she would take me to small claims court if I didn't pay. I leaned back in my chair, smirking. Finally, something entertaining. I opened the attachment, and sure enough, it looked like something a middle schooler would whip up on Microsoft Word. There is a title at the top. Payable relationship costs right now. Line items included. Groceries $1,200. Emotional labor $3,000. $800 for home improvements. Memories generated $2,500. The total is $7,500. She even watermarked it with final notice like she was the IRS. I laughed so hard that I had to put my coffee down so I wouldn't spill it all over my computer. Emotional work, recollections. What was she going to do? Repossess the wonderful times? Come knock on my home and demand the chuckles I gave her back? A few minutes later, my phone lit up. Luna, of course. Did you receive my invoice? She inquired, voice oozing with smugness like she'd finally cornered me. Oh, I got it, I said. I especially loved the recollections phrase. Do you take Venmo for those? Or should I simply pay in Monopoly money? She let out a huff. Lance, this isn't a joke. I kept track of what I invested. You owe me in a relationship. If you don't pay, I'll take you to small claims court. Then everyone will know how you used me. I smiled and sat back in my chair. First of all, you didn't put any money into it. You got some cheap decorations and frozen pizza. Second, you weren't even on the lease. You contributed $400 toward rent, and I paid $1,800. And those home renovations you make for me for $800? Those were 2 throw pillows from Target. You owe someone something. Be quiet. Then she lost it. That's not how relationships operate. That's right. I stated that they should be about respect, not one person treating the other as a boring backup plan while they think about their ex. Do you remember that? She started ranting about how she made the place a home and how my way of cooking meals was lifeless. I cut her off. Luna, all you did was make a mess. Do you want to play games in court? Go ahead. I'll file a counterclaim for the rent you stole, and the judge may laugh at your emotional labor bill just as much as I did. That response didn't sit well with her. In the next few days, she did it again. Text came in like clockwork. This is your last chance to settle before court. Lance, I'm not kidding. This will hurt your reputation. Everyone will know how you took advantage of me. I didn't pay much attention to it. But one night, I wrote her a message back. Don't forget to send Andrew a bill for the therapy you obviously need. Nothing was said after that. But Luna didn't give up. She changed her strategy to a smear campaign. All of a sudden, friends of friends started texting me. Hey dude, Luna says you threw her out and she had nowhere to go. Is that right? She said you made her work for free while she decorated your apartment. She says you won't pay her back for everything she did for you in the relationship. I didn't fight or complain. I just provided the receipts, the breakdown of the rent, the screenshot of the invoice, and a short note. She feels I owe her this. It's your choice to trust her. Half of them stopped writing back. The other half texted me laughing emoticons and advised me to stay strong. A few days later, I saw Bianca, the friend who had the Christmas meal. She took me to the side. I don't know what's going on, Lance, but Luna has been telling everyone that you're a cheap manipulator. I smiled. She is angry because I wouldn't give her $7,000 for groceries and emotional work. I'll take the title if that makes me a cheapskate. Bianca laughed and shook her head. That chick has gone crazy. A manila package slipped under my door was the last straw. There was a handwritten note inside. This is your last warning. You have to pay up or else. I laughed out loud. What will happen? 3 times the term was underlined. She thought it made things scarier. I didn't say anything. There was no necessity. The more she pushed, the more stupid she looked. She ceased threatening to go to court at the end of the week. She probably figured out that she didn't have a case. But she wasn't finished with me. Oh no. Insane. Never stops working. It only puts on other clothes. When I walked into the gym the next Monday and saw her, I knew for sure. She had full makeup on, her hair was curled, and she was wearing brand new pants that I knew she didn't own when we were together. She was leaning against the front desk as if she had been waiting. "Oh, Lance?" she murmured in a voice that sounded so phony it hurt my teeth. "What a coincidence. I didn't know you worked out here," I said with a look. "You actually said that CrossFit was a cult." She laughed too loudly and tossed her hair. People do change. I didn't talk to her for the rest of the session, and just like that, I knew the invoicing story was over. Luna was stalking me in person as she moved on to her next play. Thank goodness I was already there in the front row to watch her fall apart. I didn't know that I wasn't the only one who had tickets to the show. A few evenings after Luna's strange appearance at the gym, I was going through my DMs when I spotted a name I didn't anticipate. Andrew, the well-known ex, the guy everyone compared me to over and over again as if he were the gold standard of chaos. The message he sent was short. "Hey dude, I think we need to discuss. It's about Luna." I sat back and smiled. Andrew, of all people. I thought maybe he wanted to gloat or pour salt in the wound. I was curious, so I said, "Go ahead." He didn't spend any time. My phone rang half a minute later. "Lance." His voice was flat. "Really? Hey, what's going on? I heard that you and Luna are no longer together. I thought I should let you know." I laughed. "Give me a heads up, pal. You're behind." She has already attempted the pop-up visits and the invoice fraud. I believe I can manage it. And then there was a break. Then Andrew added, "Yeah, that's how it starts." That made me pay attention. He started right away. It turns out that Luna's best tricks with me were just things she had already done with him. He informed me that one time she followed him all the way across town to get drinks with his coworkers. She remained in her car outside the bar for hours before confronting him in the parking lot and asking why she wasn't allowed. He woke up one morning to find that someone had slashed his tires. Luna said she had nothing to do with it, but a neighbor's security camera saw her with a knife in her hand. She cried and said it was a mistake, which got her out of the accusations. She didn't stop with him either. Andrew says that she constructed bogus email accounts and sent messages to his then-girlfriend, lying about him infidelity. She even called his work once and pretended to be someone else in order to get him in trouble. I said, "Jesus." She said you were fun. That's one way to put it. Andrew made a noise. Interesting. Try risky. I had to acquire a protection order. She went too far in so many ways. I had no choice. That portion really hurt. There was more to this than just a furious ex with stories. This was a legal document that was on file. "So why get in touch with me?" I asked. He said, "I can tell she's circling again. Last week, she came to the bar where my fiancé and I go. Tried to bump into me on purpose. My fiancé has had enough. She told Luna she'd call the cops next time. Then I heard from a friend of both of you that you two broke up, and I know how she acts. When she feels trapped, she gets worse." I shook my head and leaned back in my chair. Numbers. She already tried to scare me with court. She said she would ruin my side business. Gave me an ultimatum. Take me back or else. Andrew let out a sigh. Yes, that's her. Hey guy, just keep everything like logs, screenshots, and voicemails. She knows how to turn stories around and make herself the victim. If she decides to go nuclear, you'll want proof. I couldn't help but smile. It's a good thing I'm a photographer. I am quite good at maintaining receipts. I sat there for a minute after the call ended, letting everything settle in. I was a little upset that I hadn't spotted it sooner. The other part of me was quite happy that I got away before she started cutting tires or sending phony emails about me. And if I felt Andrew's warning was too much, Luna showed him he was right within 48 hours. The text started up again. Long, crazy paragraphs that went from lovely to crazy. I still love you. We can make this better. You'll regret it if you don't phone me back. I'll tell everyone what kind of monster you are. Without me, you'll never be happy. Then there were the calls late at night. Blocked numbers, voicemails full of crying, then yelling, and finally stillness. She acted like she was trying out for a scary movie. I didn't pay any attention to them. That just made her more angry. I was out shopping for groceries on Saturday when my phone buzzed with a fresh message. Luna didn't send this one. The number was not known. It's the worst when someone you thought loved you betrays you. Tell Lance what he did to me. She was starting her smear campaign by texting folks on my contact list. 2 friends sent me the message, both of them asking what the hell she was talking about. I provided them a screenshot of the bill, and then she asked for $7,000 for emotional work. Do you trust her? That's your fault. A lot of them laughed. A few people stopped talking. It didn't matter. I wasn't here to do PR. Luna had gone from texting to showing up in person on Sunday. I first saw her parked across the street from my building. The same automobile has been parked there for hours. Then I saw her following me on my run, staying half a block behind me like I wouldn't notice. I couldn't stop thinking about what Andrew said. When she feels trapped, she gets worse. He was correct. And if she thought I was going to break down, she didn't know who she was dealing with. That night, I sat at my desk with my phone buzzing nonstop. Finally, I thought to myself, enough. I wasn't going to let her spiral in my orbit. She wanted to play stalker. Fine, I'd play smarter. I made a new folder on my laptop called Luna Evidence and started putting everything in it. Screenshots of text messages, copies of the bill, audio of her voicemails, and even pictures of her automobile parked outside. The playbook had been supplied to me by Andrew. It was time to utilize it now because I was ready for battle if Luna wanted it. I didn't have to wait long for her to make her next move. She got worse and worse, like clockwork. First, she showed up at my grocery shop. I was getting eggs and minding my own business when I saw her reflection in the door of the freezer. She was pretending to look through frozen peas while watching me like a raccoon and waiting for scraps. I didn't pay attention to her. 5 minutes later, she was in the next aisle, suddenly looking for protein bars she had never eaten before. The next day, she set up camp outside my gym. I spotted her through the window, leaning against her car with full makeup on, acting like she was simply passing by. Everyone in the room saw. My coach furrowed his eyebrows and said, "Are you okay?" I just shrugged and went back to work. It was a classic case of obsession. She was no longer hiding it. She wanted me to see her, and I made sure to keep my phone out and write down everything, every appearance, and every bogus coincidence. I was making my case if she wanted conflict. But the real showstopper happened a few days later. I had to go out and get a few things. Basic errands like buying detergent and paper towels. I froze when I got back to the parking outside my building. My automobile was shining, but not in a nice manner. Luna was standing there with 2 huge tubs of glitter in her hands. One was red, one was green, and one was gold. A full-on Christmas theme. She started throwing it all over my car, like she was frosting a cake. She even shoved handfuls into the air vents. It looked like Santa's sleigh crashed into a craft business. When she heard me, she turned around. Her hair was a mess and glitter was stuck to her face. "You ruined Christmas, Lance," she yelled. "You took my cabin trip. You took my vacation." I just stood there watching her pour more glitter into my windshield wipers. Then I said, "Wow, thanks for the decorations. Next time, just get me a tree." That made her mad. "You think this is funny?" she screamed, her voice breaking. "You embarrassed me. You took my dream trip and gave it to your stupid friends." I corrected her, pulling out my phone to record. "I took my trip and gave it to people who didn't call me boring in front of 15 people. See the difference?" By now, neighbors had started gathering. Phones out, recording. Couple laughed outright. Someone whispered, "Is she serious?" Luna spotted the crowd and went crazy. She cried and yelled, her hands shaking and glitter flying everywhere. "You'll regret this," she said. "I gave you everything. No one else will deal with you. You're nothing without me." I tilted my head and kept filming. "If I'm nothing, why are you vandalizing my boring car with 6 pounds of craft supplies? Seems like a lot of effort for nothing." That sarcastic jab pushed her over the edge. She tried to march toward me with her hands covered in glitter, as if she were going to smear it on my jacket. I held up my phone and said, "5 more steps and I call the cops." She froze, shaking with rage. "You wouldn't." "Oh, I would," I said. "And lucky for me, I've got video," I called. She screamed louder, trying to drown me out, yelling nonsense about how I abandoned her at Christmas, how she was just trying to show me how much she cared. But the cops were already on their way. When the squad car pulled in, she tried flipping into victim mode. "Officers, he's abusing me emotionally. He threw me out with nowhere to go." One of the cops looked at the glitter-coated car, then back at her. "Ma'am, you want to explain why you're dumping art supplies on his vehicle?" She stammered and tried to say it was a holiday surprise. I showed them my phone, the recording of her screaming, the tubs of glitter in her hands, the texts, the invoice she'd sent me, everything. The officer sighed. "Ma'am, step away from the car." Luna started crying. The angry kind, not the sad kind. "You're all against me. Andrew said this would happen." "Great," I said. "Tell Andrew I said hi again." They took an incident report, told me vandalism charges were an option, and then escorted her off the lot, hands still shaking, glitter trailing behind her like she was shedding sparkles. Neighbors clapped. One guy actually yelled, "Merry Christmas," as the cops guided her to the curb. I stood there staring at my car, covered head to toe in glitter. It was ruined for weeks, but honestly worth it. I had the footage, the witnesses, the cops. She'd just given me exactly what I needed. The next morning, I filed for a restraining order. Walked into the courthouse with a neatly organized folder, texts, voicemails, the invoice, photos of her car stalking, and now the glitter vandalism video. The clerk barely blinked when I explained. "You're not the first," she said, typing away. "We've had her name come through before." The judge granted a temporary restraining order. Expired right there. She didn't even get a say yet. A formal hearing was scheduled for a couple weeks later. When that day came, she tried her victim act, crying, rambling about being festive, saying, "I threw her out with nowhere to go." The judge flipped through the evidence, raised an eyebrow at the invoice line for emotional labor, and shut her down. The order was extended, barring her from contacting me, coming near my apartment, or even showing up at the gym. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt lighter than I had in months. She wanted excitement. She got cops, courtrooms, and restraining orders. She wanted chaos. She got public humiliation in front of half my building. And me, I got exactly what I wanted. Peace, quiet, and the knowledge that boring never looked so damn good. The restraining order changed everything. No more ambushes at the grocery store. No more glitter bombs. No more screaming matches outside my building. Just silence. And silence, after months of circus acts, felt better than any vacation I could have planned. Of course, Luna didn't take the order as a wake-up call. She treated it like a stage prop. She went straight to social media, painting herself as a martyr. Her posts were a mix of melodrama and bad inspirational quotes. "Some men are so insecure they punish you for being honest. Never let anyone call you crazy just because you see the truth. Real women scare weak men." She hinted my name in a few at first, then moved on to vague rants once she realized I wasn't biting. I didn't respond, didn't even block her, just muted, let her scream into the void while I enjoyed my boring, stable life. The smear campaign fizzled fast. Mutual friends saw through it after the glitter incident. One of them texted me a video from that night that had gone semi-viral locally. Title: Crazy Christmas Ex-Girlfriend Turns Parking Lot into Glitter Bomb. The comments were brutal. People weren't sympathizing, they were roasting. By New Year's, Luna had lost most of her allies. Nobody wanted to invite her to anything. Bianca told me flat out. She burned every bridge. People are done with her drama. I wasn't surprised. Entitlement works until the audience gets tired of the show. Meanwhile, my life up and up. My photography side hustle exploded after I posted a winter shoot from the cabin trip. Landed 3 new clients, then 5 more from referrals. Turns out boring, reliable guy is exactly who people want holding a camera at their weddings and events. I leaned into it. Meal preps, gym time, booked shoots on weekends. Nothing wild, nothing chaotic, just consistent. Exactly what Luna had mocked me for and exactly what was paying off now. Then came the cherry on top. Andrew reached out again. Man, he said, I just wanted to thank you. Ever since your glitter video went around, Luna stopped showing up at my spots. Guess she finally got the message. Glad I could help, I replied. Consider it my gift to your fiancé. He laughed. You're a legend, bro. Nobody's ever handled her like that. Funny thing, the same guy she compared me to at that dinner was now telling me I did what he couldn't. That's closure in its purest form. But karma wasn't done with Luna. A month after the restraining order, I heard she lost her job. Apparently, her little I'll ruin your life energy spilled into work. She'd spent too much unknown number. Must be nice to travel when you owe people everything. Blocked. Didn't even blink. The best part? Peace became normal again. No glitter, no ultimatums, no crazy invoices for emotional labor. Just me, my routines, and people who actually appreciated them. Luna wanted excitement. She got it. Cops, restraining orders, lost friends, unemployment. The kind of excitement no one envies. Me, I stuck with boring. And boring got me stability, growth, and freedom. If there's a lesson here, it's this. When someone shows you they see you as a backup plan, believe them. Don't argue. Don't beg. Don't fight for a spot you were never meant to fill. Walk away. Keep receipts. And let them implode on their own. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't yelling or payback. Sometimes it's just sitting back, sipping your coffee, and watching the glitter settle on someone else's mess. And trust me, it looks even better when you're not the one sweeping it.